Have you ever noticed that Jimmy Dore and Russell Brand both began in the same place and ended in the same place? Russell Brand is like the Russell Brand of Jimmy Dore's, in fact. They both ended up being right wing corporate propagandists disguised as leftist political commentators. But they both began wanting to be Bill Hicks. Jimmy Dore saw Bill Hicks in Chicago and tried to emulate him, but he could never really get the hang of joke writing. And he pretty much just was a working comic who would make these very banal observations of very obvious right wing hypocrisies. Russell Brand grew up in the UK, probably around the time that Bill Hicks died. And Bill Hicks influenced a lot of UK comedians. He was very big over there. But Russell Brand, although he was pretty successful as a comic over in England, he could never really get the hang of joke writing either. And when he came to America, he found out you need a lot more than just a silly outfit and a thesaurus to get by or to crack the top 10, the top 20 over in America. This is Russell Brand doing a stand-up set in 2009. Enjoy.
Fame, right? I allowed myself to be seduced into hosting the MTV VMA Awards. Well, thanks, but I wish you'd been there on the night. I could have done with you. It was quiet in there.
It was quiet in there. I'll translate that into English for you. When he came to America to make his television debut, he bombed. He ate it.
Intelligently, MTV tried to ally me to existing American celebrities to make me seem more authenticated. So I did like some promotional work with American stars, like the uber famous Britney Spears. Yes, difficult though. That's what I thought. It's difficult to meet someone when you've already seen their vagina. Where do you go?
What he's saying is it's difficult for him to say something to her because he's seen her vagina. Her vagina. Now, I'll explain this. Back in the day, back around this time he did this, whatever this is, it was very common for photographers to hang out outside of nightclubs and wait for these female celebrities to show up. And when they get out of the car, the photographers crouch down very low to the ground and try to get some upskirt beaver shots. Now, I don't know how that was legal, but that's not the thing I'm noticing here. He's always acting like and claiming he's some kind of coxman, some kind of ladies' man. In fact, I saw him on MSNBC, and he was on Morning Joe, and he spent the entire time trying to get down Mika Brzezinski's pants. Yet he doesn't know what to say when he sees a woman's vagina. I usually go with, gee, thanks. What I usually avoid is giving a standing ovation because that sometimes it's a bad look sometimes. But it's odd because he was on he was on Bill Maher's show arguing with a guy from MSNBC, and he said that when he was on, they refused to talk about Julian Assange. Forget the fact that Mehdi Hassan has defended Julian Assange's, free press rights on his show on MSNBC. But when I saw Russell Brand, he never brought up Julian Assange. The only thing he talked about was Mika's boobies.
Where do you go? Hello. Oh, and you as well. And I'm lovely to her because she's a lovely, lovely woman, dead sweet, but the promotional campaign was flawed in that they had decided to promote me as all edgy. Like, I don't want to say anything offensive to her because I don't know her feelings, but how can I be all edgy and not mention all the things that happened to her that year? But I can't go, because what you want to say, if you're in a room with Britney Spears, you want to go, what'd you shave your head for, love? What'd you shave your head for? What was you thinking? What are you doing? Is it a statement?
So he's saying, how could he sit in a room with Britney Spears and not ask why she shaved her head? I could pretty much guess why she shaved her head. Because she went a little nutso because there were photographers hanging outside of nightclubs trying to get pictures of her vagina. Bound to make you a little nuts. That whole era was absolutely repugnant. I remember it, and I remember them really wanting Amy Winehouse to die. But he has nothing to say about that. This is nothing. There's no jokes. There's no point. There's nothing interesting being said. This is a guy talking on stage. This is a guy in a bar telling a story about a thing that happened to him. And that's it. Here's a bit. Here's a bit that makes a point, too. I'll give you a bit that makes a point. It's disgusting, but at least it makes a point. Why is it when these guys follow Lindsay Lohan around, stalk her, monitor her every move, find out who she's dating, where she goes, reports her doing drugs just so they can film her arrest, trying to get upskirt beaver shots with their cameras? Why is it when they do that, they call those people paparazzi? But when I do that to my stepdaughter, people call me overbearing. Nothing. This is just a guy in a bar telling a story about a thing that happened. It doesn't even rise to the level of plain old, good old-fashioned hackery. I am not above hackery. Here's a hack joke for you. Britney Spears shaved her head. Finally, the carpet matches the drapes. It's a disgusting, bad joke. It's a shitty joke. But it's at least a joke. He doesn't even have jokes. This is really bad comedy, if you could even call it that. This is literally a guy talking on stage. Oh, and FYI, for the sake of fairness, because I don't want you guys to think less of me, I'll do it. Yes. The carpet does, in fact, match the vagina.
Statement? What's going on? Tell us. But you don't say nothing like that because it might upset her, and she's all lovely and a human being and a person. So I was explaining to the MTV promotional executives that it'll be a bit difficult for me. I said, come on, it's going to be a bit difficult, like not being able to mention all those things that have happened to Britney. Don't you think there's going to be a little bit of an elephant in the room, right? And an MTV executive, to his eternal credit, said, what if there was literally an elephant in the room?
Alright, we'll ignore the Def Comedy Jam voice. As if he's not that guy. Well, apparently he's not. Here's the thing. The promo was this. It was Russell Brand and Britney Spears making small talk. Camera pans back and there's an elephant behind them. It's a funny bit, but Russell didn't come up with it. The only funny bit at all related to this particular event was written not by Russell Brand, the comedian, the alleged comedian, but by a television executive who, and television executives, generally speaking, their job is to make interesting things not happen. Their bad notes are legendary. But that particular executive wrote the only funny joke he told that night. This guy was ripe for the picking by people like J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel, who run Rumble, to sell libertarianism disguised as some kind of Che Guevara t-shirt style of Marxism. When he was on Bill Maher and he was arguing with that MSNBC contributor, that MSNBC contributor challenged him to name one time MSNBC ever knowingly lied about something. And all he could come up with was some gibberish about horse paste and Joe Rogan. Nothing he actually said was an instance of someone there knowingly lying about anything. And it was the 20th anniversary of the illegal invasion of Iraq. And I know Russell Brand, the first thing he thought of was WMDs. MSNBC knowingly lied about the existence of WMDs and in fact fired anyone who questioned that narrative. But Russell couldn't mention that because his benefactors over at Rumble would not approve. A. And B. Russell himself is currently lying about WMDs in Ukraine. So Russell Brand, just like Jimmy Dore, began his career with two of the main ingredients it takes to be a conservative commentator: a serious lack of creativity and a serious need for attention.